as usual, I have the task to conclude this conference, and I have to say this is very challenging because, after such a long morning with so important messages given, will be, very, very difficult to summarize, which is the takeaway. So I will, considering also the time, I will try to be very brief, and I will focus only on what is the takeaway as a supervisor. Because today we spoke about regulation, how regulation could navigate, through all these trends, try to make finance more sustainable, do not provide obstacle to the long-term activity of investors and or supervisors, how to approach the innovation. All those aspects are all challenges, both for insurers and regulators, but also challenge for supervisors, who are the people that have to apply the regulation. And the first takeaway I want to highlight, I think, is that we should continue to do the supervisors. That at the end, all these trends are important, but I think the best way to accompany those trends and to, facilitate the sustainable finance, facilitate the support to the economy, facilitate the creation of new products for policyholders, for consumers, are all objectives that could be achieved with a prudent supervision. And when I say prudent supervision, I do not think about unsustainable supervision, as Carlos simply said, but a supervision that actually do not forget the objective of supervision, which is maintain a safe market, ensure that the consumers are treated fairly, but also ensure that the market is functioning well, that all the coverage that the consumers requires are provided by the insurers, and so on. So I think it would be inappropriate to ask supervisors to do something different from that, just because you have to support economy or to introduce a sustainable concept in the finance. And I think it is in the interest of supervisors that insurers provides the right products to consumers. We spoke about sustainability, and certainly one of the best way for insurers to sustain the finance and the economy is provide appropriate coverage to the collectivity, provide appropriate coverage in terms of catastrophic coverage, in terms of filling the retirement gaps, and so on. We spoke about also long-term guarantees. Certainly, we are very attentive to ensure that regulation and how the regulation is applied do not create obstacle for insurers to provide the long-term products, and this is true, obviously, with regard to the forthcoming review of the volatility adjustment, but in general, in the revision of Solvency II. But we are also aware that regulation is only one of the actors that is relevant in this field. So we cannot, as it was said this morning, give incentive to invest, for example, in certain sectors through the regulation. Regulation should not create obstacles, but should not be used to create incentives. So to conclude, I think we got many important considerations today that we will take into account in our activity. Certainly, as we think we have done up to now, we will look at all the trends with an open mind, and we will try to be aware of how those trends could benefit consumers and the insurance market in general. We want to be part of the solution for any type of challenge, but we will not forget, the institutional objective of supervision, which is, as I said before, ensure a stable market, ensure fair treatment of consumers, and ensure that the market is functioning in an appropriate way. In this context, we will continue to do what we started to do in the implementation of Solvency II, in all the 3 pillars of Solvency II. We have started an important campaign on the calculation of best estimate, for example. We will continue to do that, and we will try also to focus how the risk profile, and if the risk profile of the companies is reflected in the standard formula and in the calculation of capital requirement. We will focus on the governance. As we said, the governance is a fundamental pillar of Solvency II, so we will continue to check that the risk is managed in an appropriate way. We will look at the disclosure. Maybe this is the area that maybe needs more attention, and it is more challenging to be exploited. And we will also be sure that companies treat their customers fairly. We have an important activity in this field. We're checking complaints by consumers. We will try to make sure that besides the protection of a consumer, there is confidence in the insurance market. And in this regard, I cannot help of mentioning that, as Gabriel said this morning, the level of protection of policyholders in Europe is equal to the weakest ring in Europe. We try to be the strongest ring, certainly, but it is important that the convergence of supervisory practices is improved. And we have seen that it was mentioned this morning, the cross-sector, in cross-border activity. This is something that has the potential to create a very detrimental effect to the confidence of the insurance sector in Europe. So we think that EIOPA could play an important role in making sure that the home and host authority provides better protection for the policyholders. We are not speaking here giving more powers. at European level, but certainly EIOPA in this field could be of great help. And again, we think that with the role of EIOPA and the initiative of the European Commission, this issue could be solved soon. So I will not insist more on these important messages that we got this morning. I would like to thank you all for being here, and I have to thank all our guests and our panelists, that was particular panelists coming from abroad that decided to share their views with us. And let me also thank all the colleagues of IVASS that make it this event possible. We hope to be in front of you next year with and check again how those trends developed and how our activity as supervisors developed. Just to quote Gabriel this morning, and check again next year whether Solvency II has been a success or not. Thank you very much.